What are the six consciousnesses?
The six consciousnesses. Awareness is one, but each of the five senses has a consciousness unique to it, and the sixth one is the mental consciousness. So, for example, the consciousness of seeing, you obviously on a mundane level, the consciousness of seeing operates through the eyeballs, but the consciousness of seeing also happens when the eyes are closed. There's still a seeing that happens, and that's the consciousness of seeing, the seeing within, which is a seeing of light, which is the seeing of particles dancing, which is the seeing of visions, which is the seeing of dreams, which is the seeing of thoughts. That's the consciousness of seeing. When the consciousness of seeing is lifted to the level of awareness, then what is experienced is light, beautiful light. Equally with sound. Mundane, normally, the consciousness of sound is such that you hear struck sound, my voice, my fingers clicking, and you hear that in the world. But the consciousness of sound on an inner level is hearing your thoughts, is hearing what you imagine in the realm of sound. But it's also hearing unstruck sound, and this is when consciousness is brought to the level of awareness, then what is heard is unstruck sound. The music of the spheres, or the song of the victorious ones, which is a vibration, awareness as vibration, which is audible to the consciousness of sound. And then there's the consciousness of touch. When, normally speaking, on the mundane level, we just feel and its sensations. When we take the consciousness of touch to the level of awareness, we recognize everything as sensation and as feeling. Everything has a feeling. You can feel your thoughts, you can feel colours, you can feel sound, you can feel everything basically has feeling. So that's touch when it's brought to the level of awareness. Taste. Normally we all know what taste is on the conventional level, but when the consciousness of taste is brought up to the level of awareness, there is nectar, amrit, nectar, and this is extraordinary. When your heart is touching that awareness and your consciousness is coming together with it, then on the level of taste there is nectar which is like a drip, a taste in your mouth, a transcendent, glorious, dripping beauty that appears to kind of drop into your heart and explode. The consciousness of taste, when taken to awareness, is nectar. And then what else have we got? We've got vision, sound, tacticity, taste, and smell. Smell is more subtle. It's probably the most subtle of the five senses, and we know what that is on an ordinary level. But then on a more transcendent level, when the consciousness of smell comes up to the level of awareness, then there are strange fragrances. Sometimes rooms of meditators create this incredible fragrance. Sometimes, incense reflects this. That incense is trying to get our consciousness of smell to go up into the level of awareness. And then on a mental level, when we take the mental consciousness up to the level of awareness, we have insight, and we have the perception of states, different states, and transcendent insights. Insights being different from using the mentality and the thinking normally to deduce and to logic around. On the mental level, when that is lifted up to the level of awareness, that consciousness, then it comes as flashes and insights and direct seeing. Now the important thing here to understand is that in the current situation of spirituality, you get different spiritual groups saying that other spiritual groups' practices are wrong. For example, you'll get the Advaita Vedanta crew who will say that it's not necessary to meditate, or you'll get, you'll get people who do Vipassana saying that experience of light and sound is irrelevant, and only you should concentrate on the sensation, which is the consciousness of your skin, of tacticity, of touch. But actually, all of these ways are good. So the Raj Vidya practitioners and the Raja Yoga thing, what is that about? That's about seeing the light, raising sight consciousness to the level of light, and sound consciousness to the level of inner sound. And so each of these different paths now, if we use the perspective of the six consciousnesses, each of them focuses on 1, 2 or 3 or more of the senses, of the six senses, to access awareness, to experience awareness, and each of them is the same. The one, often in the Advaita Vedanta thing, they will say, oh, but who's the one seeing the light? The light is the one seeing the light. Who is the one getting the insight? The insight is the one getting the insight. Who is the one that hears the sound? The sound is the one that hears the sound. There is only one thing. The seer, the sight and the seeing, they're all one. The hearing, the hearer and what is heard is one. And that realization comes into being when the different sense is taken up to the level of awareness. That's where you realize that. So all these paths are valid. All these paths are valid. It's not like, oh, you don't need to meditate. If you want to meditate on sensation and access awareness through sensation, then you need to meditate. In other words, do that technique, body scanning, whatever. If you want insight, then you do it the Advaita Vedanta way. But in fact, a lot of these paths actually, for example, when in Advaita Vedanta you are inquiring, when you have the insight, you are in a meditative state. So ultimately, they're kind of very similar. But this explanation that I'm giving is something that I've realized that harmonizes all paths and practices, that they all work. All religions are equally true, all paths are equally good, all guides are equally good, all statements are equally true. The question is just to find in what context is any statement true. And it's the context, not the statement. So suffice to say that the six consciousnesses all work. I've practiced in my life. I see light all the time, both inside and outside. I hear sound all the time, both inside and outside. I also do the Vipassana, so I can feel all the sensations. I also do the Advaita Vedanta, so I get the mental consciousness and the lifting to awareness and getting insights and these states. So it's all good. This is the thing. It's all good. And it's important that we have that holistic approach that includes, because really there's one way and we're all on it. It's called life, is the bottom line to this. And that's the kind of attitude that's going to bring the world together. And my way's right and your way's wrong, and my way's better than your way, and poo-pooing people who don't have the similar practices and the rest of it is all nonsense, and it's not part of what's going to bring the world together. And if we as so-called conscious people can't be operating in a unified situation, then who can? So I hope that helps.